check. Wow, I can't believe it works. So I just thought I would show you guys just a little trick here tonight to get started. Hopefully the picture looks good. I'm actually on a different camera right now. I'm shooting down from my overhead camera. I also have a camera on my display here, and I have mix effects in my hot little hand, and I created a macro to do this look. And so I'm going to set this down for a second, and I have the DJI mic kit on using channel 2 in the A10 Mini Extreme ISO. But I have a bunch of things here tonight. We are going to talk about light modifiers. I have a light in front of me. I have reflectors galore. I even had one on my head. And so we're going to take a look at this stuff in just a few minutes, but I'm going to head back over to the table and switch microphones. So let's see if this works. And I should have my regular mic now. I should be back. Welcome to the live stream. My name is Keith. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully the audio sounds good. Let me know in the chat. We are going to not have a post show tonight. I apologize, but I had something very special coming in. Shout out to Freddie, who's here tonight. And he actually sent me an email about this device, and we're going to talk about it at the end of the show. I hopefully will be unboxing that next week in the live show and then setting it up and using it in the post show. I like to challenge myself, so unbox, set it up, get it working in the post show. That's the plan next week. And Benjamin C. Bear will be joining me to do an intro in the post show. So again, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Let's fix a couple things here so I can put chat on the air and say hi to everyone. So let me get my mix effects on my iPad set back up because I used it to change cameras over in my other set. And I might go back over there tonight. I do have the DJI mic on. That channel is muted right now. So not quite as hot as this channel. So I will bring this down just a touch. It looks like it's a little hot. So hopefully you guys had a great week. I did. I just released a new video on the channel tonight. I hope you will check that out. And let's say hi to those of you guys who are in the chat here tonight. I did want to, again, say a special thank you. Get my mouse down here. Thank you, Mr. Mouse. So I did want to say a special thanks to Freddie here off the air. Let's try to fix this again. Special thanks to Freddie, and let's put that up on the screen here. Thought I had that displayed. I don't, so let me fix that. Freddie, sorry about that. For some reason, my chat is not displaying right here, so let's take that off the air. Okay, so what is going on here? Might have to change this link real quick, so let me fix that. So I did release a new video, and it is how to do macros today and how to be able to take your chat, which will be up there in a second, and create on the air and off the air macros, which I use every week, and then also to be able to emphasize it. So let me just go in here and make sure that I have the right chat link in here. I tested this earlier, but now it is giving me a hard time. And let me put this back on the air here. There we go, chat on the air. Let me make sure it is full screen and displayed. Okay, back to that. Sorry about that. So again, shout out to Freddie, who is the guy who recommended this device when it was first videos going out of it. Many people have asked me about my Skycam. And so we are going to review and look at, unbox a new Skycam next week. So again, thank you, Freddie, for joining me tonight. It's good to have you back on the live stream. Also, DJ Ware is in the house, and I'm saying hi to me and Freddie. Also, we have Hank is here. And thank you. And if you want to let everybody else know where you're from, there may be new guests. We've had new people every week. And if you haven't subscribed, chat subscribe only is on. So if you subscribe to the channel, you will be able to chat in 5 minutes. And we'd love to have you join the conversation tonight. I thought that was cute, so I'll put that up there. DJ Ware in the house, and he says that my Skycam makes it look like I'm in the Apollo command module. So yeah, it could be. There's lots of things in here that probably aren't necessary or isn't necessary, but I'm not sure if that's true. We do want to continue to grow the channel. I have been reluctant just to go out and buy the SD version of the ATEMs. One of the things, the challenge is running a channel, and if you've had a YouTube channel, or if you're joining me tonight or you're watching this later, one of the challenges that we have in running a channel, right, is that we want to create a following. We want to have subscribers. Also want to try to talk about things that we're passionate about, and kind of reason why I have the post show, because I can broaden kind of my reach. And if not a lot of people watch those videos, I guess that's okay. But in the live show each week on Tuesday, I've tried to focus in on live streaming tech, as well as some of the things that are kind of around live streaming. Like, for instance, tonight we're going to talk about light modifiers. We're also going to talk about leaf filters, and I have a little leaf filter can right here. So we're going to talk about that. These are mainly for photography, but you can also use them in videography, and we'll talk about how that works. And then also maybe some things around live streaming, like things you put on your shelf. I've talked to some of you in the past about what's on your shelf in Zoom conversations that I've had with people from the channel. And that's exciting as well, because obviously if you have a channel, I can watch you, and it kind of makes it feel like I'm more connected. So if you don't have a YouTube channel, I can't wait until you have one. Those of you that do have them, I have visited those channels. Some of the channels here that join me each week are a little over my head, but I still appreciate learning. So again, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Every time I talk about lights, the danger is, or anything to do with lights, the danger has been that those videos aren't viewed as often as other things. I think people seriously like tech. I think they like talking about cameras. They like talking about video. They like to talk about monitors. They like to talk about things like the Wacom tablet, how to put chat on the air for your YouTube channel. They like to know about how we stream and different things, techniques that we have, and including, obviously, if you're using a Blackmagic device, how to use the control software. And so some videos have a little bit of all of that. If you watch the HyperDeck series here on the channel, and people love the HyperDeck series. And if you don't know what a HyperDeck is, that's a tool that Blackmagic Design has had for a long time to play back video. You can also record video to it. And over the years, it's become a device to put animated graphics on the screen. So you can use a HyperDeck to put things up on the screen. I think this will work. This is actually going to play from my HyperDeck. It is my subscribe logo here. Let me just find it. Hopefully that will play. Yeah, so that is animating and playing from my HyperDeck through a key in the control software into my ATEM Extreme ISO, and then it times out. And I've created a macro to run that. So I think those things are a little bit more interesting to people. HyperDecks, HyperDeck shuttles, the HD, which is now a desktop version, the ATEM Mini, the Pro, the new SD models, the new 2ME, the 4ME, and the one rack unit, the 1ME. All of those things I think are interesting. Blackmagic cameras, and I think a lot of people have tuned into the channel, including the Rodecaster Pro version 2 has been really popular. But I felt, again, that I want to hammer a couple things from my heart home tonight, and that is lighting is crucial, right? If I take these lights off right now, this is what it looks like. So I have light behind me, but I don't have light on me. And many people have done live streams like this with that kind of light. And obviously when you have good quality light, it makes your picture crisper. And you may not know this, but the sensor in your camera, it needs light. And the more light you give it, the better it is, as long as you get the basic things set correctly. So again, I want to talk about light modifiers tonight and a little bit about the Lee filter kit. And again, it'll apply to videography. It'll also apply to photography. Most people would think of the Lee filter kit or the Lee equipment for photography, for landscape photography, and it sure is. That's what I purchased the kit for. But now I'm using some of the filters, the ND filters in my Lee kit to be able to stop down light when I'm out shooting during the daytime. Now, there are some challenges, and we'll talk about that here shortly. And again, because there's no post-show tonight, we're gonna go just a little over an hour, but I do want to cover light modifiers, some lighting equipment I haven't had on the channel before, like umbrellas. I have my big reflector, which also will be used to cut light. It also could be used to flag light, and I have that on the table as well, and we're going to talk about some of those things. I may not open that. It is a 4x8 beast, but it's one of the things that's really important for lighting. So if you're doing lighting in the studio, some of this stuff does apply, and if you're doing lighting someplace else or you're trying to light a group of people, these modifiers really do make a difference, and they help you do things with light that we're going to talk about here tonight. So, okay, let me say hi to a couple other people. Great to have you in here tonight. Tony, thank you so much for joining me. Fun texting back and forth this week about backup systems. That's going to be fun, trying to figure out which direction to go. So again, check out Tony's channel. Already said hi to DJ Ware and to Freddie. There's Doug Force from Doug Force Online. Check out his channel as well. And I'm glad you're back and you're going to be able to catch up. And then Tony saying hi to the other guys in the live stream. So let's turn chat off the air. Let's go like that. And let's talk a little bit about modifiers right now. So I'm going to change cameras here and go back to my other microphone. Should still be able to hear me. Going to change angles. So here I am semi in the camera right now. Well, I guess I'm in that shot. Don't really need this. You should have my lapel microphone on and the other microphone is off. Good. And so I wanted to talk just a little bit about some of these things I have here. I have a light, and I've done videography, I've done photography. I really started getting video equipment to be able to work with music artists, to be able to do some music videos. And that's really what got me started in the whole area of lighting. Turn this down just a little. And there's lots of different modifiers. So this is an LED light. This is by Photo Deox. I've had these for a while. I'll flip this around. You guys can see the model. It's the LED 200 watt 56. And again, it's got a typical Bowens mount, and it's right here. And if I was to turn this on and aim it at the camera, it would not be good. So I'm going to aim it up and away, and I'm going to flip it on. And then a lot of these lights have power packs like this, and I can raise and lower the light. But again, it's just bright light. I mean, it just floods everywhere. And I'll turn it just a little bit more towards camera. But you can see it's just flooding everywhere. And it actually, because it's flooding everywhere, I can't really control it. I can't even hardly turn it to you to be able to show you that light. But I could simply take a reflector, and this is a white reflector. Again, it's meant to make the light more white and softer. If it was a silver reflector, it would add light. This is not really designed to add light, but it is designed to spread it. And because this has an angle, it helps point the light forward. Now, it's still going to spill out when it gets there, but it's more controllable when you first put it on. So let's pop this modifier on. So now I can aim this, and you can see I can show you a little bit more light without it blowing out our shot, because I've modified the light. I've changed the angle. It's flooding inside this, and the light literally looks different once you get it in a modifier like this. It's already shaping and it's already changing the light. Now, if you want to soften it even more, then you can put layers of diffusion, and this is just a single layer of diffusion, and this just goes right on top. I usually do this when it's in my lap, not when it's already on. So now you have even more diffusion, so it's diffusing the light, and every time you put more diffusion on a light, it's going to make the light less and less bright. Again, it helps control the light, and now it kind of is a smaller surface, but the light still does spill out from the sides using it this way. Now, if you were to take a grid like this, and you can see this has tiny holes in it, this is designed to shape the light even more. So take a grid like this or a grid like this, and you can slide this into barn doors. Typically is what these are designed if they're square like this. These are designed to pop right in to diffusers. So if we pop this out, it's not designed for this one. This would pop right in, and I have a diffuser right here that's built for my photo lights, my Einstein's by who's it? Paul C. Buff, and this is designed to pop right inside here. And this is not a Bowens mount, but I brought it because I want to show you the hole and what that's for, as well as this. So this would pop right in here. And I just bought some of the things out of my garage, and you hold the tab out so you can pop it out. But you can see now that this is now focusing the light more straightforward. Now I can hold it up here like this so that you can see it. And now this is going to be more directional light. You can see the light is not bleeding out as much. Those little honeycombs are actually forcing the light to go directional. And so again, to have a honeycomb, and there's different size honeycombs, and this will help you control the light. So again, reflectors and honeycomb adapters, and these come in more than one type form, not just for these, but also for soft boxes. So if I pull this out right here, this honeycomb is designed for a soft box. And when you get them for a soft box, they look like this. And you just open them up, spread them out, and you stick them inside, Velcro inside the soft box. And if you wonder what that looks like, let me go grab one. So this is my Nice Photo softbox, and it has a grid in it. And again, this is for my lights that are mounted up in the studio, that are up there all the time. Right now I have barn doors up there, but this is shaping the light. So you can actually see what happens when I have this grid on, because it keeps you from seeing inside this just by turning it that much. Now, if this grid wasn't in it, you would be able to see all of that, and I've talked about these grids in the past. So you also have this also will go on my Einsteins, and I can slide these in, and this is for these different diffusions that I have, so I can make white, daylight color, all kinds of different colors, and I can just simply slide those in between this and then close it down. And I have different sizes of these, and then this would slide right inside like this. And now you would have different diffusion. In fact, this has 2 levels of diffusion. I could have barn doors on here, and I could have one of these paper cardboard inserts with diffusion inside of it. And then that's now color diffusion. So gels can come in different colors. You can also use them just to gel down or stop down the light. But again, another tool that's readily available for us. Then you can go even simpler and go something like this. This is my little aperture light. And if I turn that on, it does have some built-in diffusion, but this is the diffusion that comes with it. And it's a little rubber soft box, I guess, that you put on top of it. And now you have a better diffused light. And so it's just a better light. It's a softer light. And anytime you diffuse it, this actually helps widen the light out. And it's a nice little tool. And these will change colors. So again, this becomes diffusion as well as like a soft box. And that really helps as well. So not only do you have soft boxes like the one I got out, you also have umbrellas. This is a Westcott umbrella. Pull it out of the bag. It's actually gigantic. So I'll just show you guys this without trying to open it all the way up. My hands are so sweaty. Let's try that again. Ugh. Okay, I'm just going to open it up. So white inside. I also have one that's silver. Again, I'm not going to open this up tonight, but these are designed to mount on. You can actually mount the rods right through these holes in deflectors. And so if you have a deflector with a hole, it's usually designed to go through the reflector into the device that you're using. I have them on the Godex light underneath. I also have them on my Einsteins. And again, these are not just silver reflectors, but they can also have an umbrella. And then you usually shine into the umbrella, and the open part goes back towards your talent. And a big umbrella gives you a gigantic light. So if you're lighting a family, or if you're lighting a big set, let's say you wanted to just have one light and light a big set, you can do that with an umbrella because it turns a small light into a giant light. And you want to put a reflector on it if you're going to use an umbrella, because this will increase the light because of it's reflective and it's got the silver inside. And I also have an umbrella that's silver. This is designed to be more softer white. And it's a little harder light when you go silver umbrella. So keep that in mind. And then also, now this is a Bowens mount right here. It's got the little notches on it. So this can go on. And now I have different color diffusion. So if I wanted a yellow light, if I wanted brown, if I wanted red. I also have teal. You can buy these in different colors, and you can take this light and make it red. So basically pull these out. I rarely use these. I have 3 sets. This is a set I have not ever taken out. Let's open this up. And again, it's just a sock that goes on the reflector like before. And they're tight when they're new. Let's do it on my lap. It's a lot easier. So now it's on. And now I have a red light. So shine that on the wall and you can see the red light around the TV. You can raise that light brightness up or down with the controller. So again, another form of diffusion. And I've got a reflector that increases the light brightness, and then I have the diffusion on there. And again, not only does it cut the light down, it also colors the light. And then I showed it earlier, this is the big one. This is for long throws. So if I had one of my Einstein lights, again, this is a regular rounded Einstein mount. There's no little bow and notches on it. So this is designed to go with my Einstein Pulsey buff lights. And I had them here in an earlier video. You can check that out on lighting on the channel. But again, this snaps on there. It grips it inside and out. And then this gives you lots of reflection. So even if I hold it up to my light up here, it's adding more light to the camera because it's reflecting the light above the camera. And so, not a hat, but I did have this on during the intro video. And then obviously, one more thing, you have barn doors, which is another way. This gives you the ability to cut and control light. So if you don't want any light spilling that way, you can close down these barn doors and then you can control light that way. And so now I have a reflector on it, but not only am I shaping the light, I can now shape it even more. And that's what I do up here above my head. I have a grid and I have barn doors putting light right on the back of my TV for the live stream. So that's what it's like with barn doors on it. We'll turn that away. Then, what if you're outside and you have light and you just want to control it or aim it or reflect it? Then you have tools like this. And right now I have white on one side and black on the other side. You would use black to cut light. Actually, I got silver, sorry. So silver on one side, very big reflector, and black on the other side. This could be used to reflect light or cut light. And then if you really want to add some more light, this zips off. I am going to make a mess tonight. It has a gold side, or let's just say you want to cut light. Again, if you want to cut light down and make a small light or the sun be a little bit more controlled, then you can put this up, have someone holding this over the talent. If you're doing a shot inside someone's vehicle and they have a skylight that you can't close, you can set this off and still get the sunlight. And then you can obviously not use the silver side. You could just simply use the white side. And these just zip right back on so you can get gold. You got silver or black as well on the other side. And this gives you the ability to have more than one choice to cut light. And then if you really want to get crazy, and I'll be right back in the chat in a minute, let me show you this. If I can get through here, I got stuff all over. Let's set that there. Put this back up. Grab the umbrella. This is by Interfit, and this is a 4x8 reflector slash cutter. And I love it because it's all one piece. It folds out, and now you have a 4x8 device. Now, they don't make these anymore, Interfit, but there's other brands. Westcott, I believe it has one. What I liked about this is it's all one piece. It folds out, and then it's got a support on the back that you just screw together. And so you don't have to put it together. It literally pops out. And so then you can get covers for these or even make some of your own. I have a couple covers for this. They just Velcro on. So we'll set that down. And if I want to cut light, I have the black that goes on there. And it's got this silver gold on one side. And then if I just want a white reflector, then I have this white reflector that pops on it as well. It takes about 3 minutes to change it out, which gives you the ability to do some pretty incredible things with light. Now, when I'm shooting commercials or anything like that outside, we use this device a lot because we're almost always trying to direct light or cut light or control light on a client, and it's important to have this kind of lighting. Now, a lot of times I will use shade or use a tree or position people in the best lighting situation. So if I don't want any backlight on them, I'm going to put them in the shade and put dark behind them. It might be under a tree. There might be bushes behind them that has some light on it, but it's not going to reflect a bunch of light on the talent. But if I want to use all the light that's available to me, I can actually have the sunlight on one side and then as a backlight and fill them with that using a big reflector and then have a light in front of them. So now I can use the sun as a backlight. I can use it as a fill light. I can also use it, and I can use the sun as a key light if I hold a reflector up high and reflect the sun down on the talent. So now I have a backlight and I have a key light, and usually I would reverse it because usually the sun is brighter, so it makes a great key light. And then I could also have a reflector or a softbox shining on the side, and that would give me a 3-light setup outside with 1 light and a big reflector. So lighting is very important. Sorry, I'm sweating. And I just wanted to talk about it here for a few minutes. And that's a wrap on diffusion. So lots of different types of diffusion, from umbrellas. We've already talked about light metering. So if you wonder what light is brighter than other ones, you can get a meter like this. And some people would freak out and say these are really hard to use. They're not. Once you kind of figure out a light meter, just simply turn it on and you can set it for what you want to shoot. So let's say you're at 5.6 and you know what your shutter speed is and you just want to test your light. Then basically you're going to be able to test your light and it's going to let you know if 5.66 and your shutter speed is the right settings. You can use it just to read the light and see what the settings would be in the room. And then you can dial in those exact settings. Like right now, if I shoot it back, right now it's at 29.97 frames per second and shutter speed of 60. And this was set up for video. I have the ISO at 1500. I can change the ISO settings on here. But let's say my camera was at 1500 ISO, and then I had had it at f10. I also had the shutter speed at 60, which is double the frame rate, 29.96. And then I do a quick test like this back at my lights. Then it's going to quickly tell me if I'm set up right. And right now, it is saying that I need to be at 3.6 if I had my ISO at 1500 and I was shooting at 60 frames per second, a shutter speed of 60, 29.97 frames per second. But my ISO is higher than that right now because I am shooting with those exact settings, but I do have the aperture at 5.6. And so I could go in here and change aperture. I could change shutter speed. And once I have it set, now I can read the light. So I could read the hair light, the separation light. I could read the fill light. And then this actually lets this little reader go in and out. So if I want more directional light, I screw it in. And if I want more, that's directional light screwed in. So it's going to only catch light going right at it. If I want to get more like all of the light on this whole side of the talent, or maybe I'm just checking the stage where everybody's sitting just to see if I have good light and good aperture. And then I can go behind the talent and double check their hair light, check their fill light. If I wanted my fill like a stop or 2 stops less, I can check that by checking the side of their face against the light. So I want to take a reading where the face is. So that's the light coming on their face. And then I would do the same with the hair light. And if I wanted the hair light 3 stops brighter than the key light, then I can check that with a light meter. And it's a lot easier than eyeballing it, folks. So having a light meter really is a pretty cool device. This is a Lightmaster Pro L478DR, and I think they have a newer version of this available. This will also fire flashes, so Pocket Wizard, so I can actually set this up to fire up to 3 lights and fire my flashes if I am using my flashes to do photography. So again, you have reflectors, and they can also cut light. Then you also have different diffusion that you can put on, from grids to barn doors to things like this, different colors, but light diffusion, like cutting. Let's say there's a window and you don't want any light on your talent. You could use a cutting flag, which would be just a black flag. You would put it in a C-stand or a stand, and that would cut the light on that side of your talent, so you don't get that window light. Then you could use warm light in the room and not the daylight coming from the window. So lots of cool things. Or let's say you wanted the window to match the color of your lights in the room, right? Your warm lights. Then you could take a large piece of diffusion, right? And you could put it over a window. And there's people that actually do that. They use large diffusion and they'll flag it in front of the window. And now it throws that certain color temperature light on their talent. So pretty incredible. All of the things that you can do with lights and barn doors and grids and umbrellas, right? There's just so many things that you can do to control light. So if you're going to create a studio, you can have light as simple as my key lights, my key light and my fill light, which I use here in my desk, and those are by Elgato. So I got the key light here and the key light there, and then the key light mini as a hair light, and it's off right now. It's always misbehaving, so I don't really have a hair light right now, but if I hold the button down, it will turn on, and now I have a little bit of a hair light. So, okay, that's a lot to get this far and not get a chance to talk to you or say hi to anybody in the chat. Let's see if anybody else has joined us. Tony, let's just put this up. I'm going to cut to chat on the air. Lost my chat here. Hold tight. Please stand by. That's working. OBS quit. So let me hit a chat here. Where did I see that? Let's try this. Okay. So Freddie said, putting the issue of price aside, would it be more convenient to use a small light like an Amaron 100? Check. Or a Godex with a softbox over the Elgato key light, for example, to have better lighting? Well, obviously, Freddie, the wider surface of that light would be a little bit better than a key light. The reason I have the key lights is I can operate them with my Stream Deck. They do provide a nice gelled light. They have a number of layers. They're outward facing in lights, so it's a nice soft light. And when it gets 2 feet or 3 feet away from my head, it's a nice big light by the time it hits my face, so it does wrap around. I have another one right here to provide fill on this side of my face. And then I have the little mini light up here. So it just really depends. If you were going to have 2 people with you, you would get more light out of a softbox on like the Amaron that you're talking about. So it's really situational. It'd be nice to have both of those. So have the key lights at your desk. So when you're doing a Zoom call and you just want to hit your Stream Deck and turn it all on. Sometimes a desk is up against the wall. So how do you get a big softbox? You could pull your desk away from the wall. You'll see that on Tom Buck's channel. His desk is actually away from his wall, but I'm stuck in a closet. The doors are off. I want to open up the room behind me to give myself some space. So I went with the key lights because of space, and they're nice, good quality light for what you get. And they're pretty bright, 2700 ANSI lumens. I rarely ever have them full brightness, so that's nice to have as well. And you could go with the Key Light Air, or you could go with the Key Light. Key Light Air is around 2000 lumens, and the Key Light is 27. And then the Key Light Mini, I believe, is like 800 lumens. So keep that in mind. Lumens is how bright it is, how much light it's going to cast into the room. Okay, let me see. Did I miss any other questions up here? Saw this earlier. Tony said this. He uses the Amaron with a 37-inch round softbox with a grid like the one Keith displayed as my key light. It gives me nice soft light. Yeah, and if you go over to Tony's channel, you'll see that he's away from the wall. So he has that space behind his desk, and I have other people I work with that have that set up, or they sit at their desk when they're shooting their live videos and put lights up and cameras up where they normally have chairs where guests come in. But I'm set up in here permanently. My desk is set up permanently. I do Zoom here. I do conference calls here. I can bring in guests through Zoom. Also, I can use my ATEM right here, record my videos right here. So for me, the key lights work really well, but any light that you can control so you're getting the kind of light you want. Remember, light can just flood a room. Like right now, I have my overhead lights on. I normally have them off. Light can flood the room because I wanted to have as much light when I'm sitting back there as I possibly can. Now, normally when I'm in a live stream, I'm not going to be back there. It looks like this. So the light behind me goes down a little bit, have the TV on with this background, and then the light on the corner shelf right there. You also get light coming from my monitor right here, and so it surrounds me with light, and then this area right here becomes the focus. If you have it too bright behind you, it just throws too much light. I also have my two Godox lights fired up, and they can go off right now. And they're actually off. And again, they just fill up really the chairs back there in the table. You watch the table behind me, you'll see it come back on. So that chair lights up, and that's what that light is designed to do. And then this light right here is adding to the edge of my TV. Watch, that will go out again. And now I just do not have that little light, which is just really a separation light is what I call it when I use it just to do that. And then I have these lights that I put on the shelf back there. That red light you see up there in my Batman display is one of these little MC lights set to a red color. And so you can do bicolor on these. And again, the diffusion's really nice. And if I wanted more fill light, I could just set this light up here, and you can see what happens to my face if I add a little bit more light on that side. Now this is fill. Now this is more warm and brighter, and then this becomes fill by adding another key light on this side. So now my key light and this light are wrapping my face, and light does make a difference. And you can also add separation light, so you can see what happens to the back of my head when I add light back there. And so that separates me, and there's like a glow around my head. And I already have the Key Light Mini up here, and that light kind of spreads over the back of my shoulders. And then I have light that also separates the TV. So lots of light, and you get a lot from your light when you're using it correctly. But diffusing it is what we're talking about tonight, and we're going to talk about the Lee filter system. So any questions about light before we shift gears and we go into my Lee filter kit, and we talk about what's in this and talk about why I have what they call a little big super stopper, and we'll talk about that. But let's see if there's any questions before we move on. Yeah, so good question, Tony. Talk about lighting for good chroma keying. The easiest way to help people understand green screen, right, is really keying anything out behind you comes down to being able to identify what's behind you, right? And if it's green, you don't want 5 colors of green behind you, because what happens is that then you're going to have trouble removing it. Now, if you're using Adobe Premiere or using software to edit then you could take samples of 3 or 4 colors of green and then remove it. So I can actually take a pretty bad green screen and clean it up if I'm inside an editing software and then render it out perfectly. But if you're live, you need to have good wide light. I call it wide light on a green screen because you don't want hot spots. So what you want to do is get away from your green screen, or you're going to get green spill on you, which looks horrible. And I see it all the time. People put a green screen behind them. Even Elgato sells 2 types of green screens, one you can pull down from the ceiling and one you can lift up. And they're about as wide as my shot. So if I had it right behind me, it would fill this shot. But remember, the further you go back, the wider that is back there. And so when I did green screen in here, I had a 9-foot green screen going sideways right behind me. And then you shine light on it and you get it as lit as clean as you possibly can. And then you're going to chroma key it out. And that's what Tony's talking about. So good light on you, separating you. So again, you want to have the hair light. It's really good to have light that separates you, because then you get a better key, and you don't want a ring of green around you. So I always tell people, if you can, be 4 feet or more away from the green screen, and you're going to have a really nice looking setup. So if you go to like a TV station, you're going to see that they stand probably about 3 or 4 feet away from the green screen. Whoever does the weather, they're typically looking at a monitor, and then they're pointing at things, and it's right behind them, and it's quite tricky, but really cool. People have used virtual sets, so they have a table in front of them covered with green fabric, and then they add a table in the green screen shot, and so you can't tell that it's a virtual set, and that's pretty cool as well. They even have virtual sets that have lighting effects on them, so they'll even cast shadows on them. It's pretty incredible. You could also do a 8K monitor behind you and then put whatever you want behind you and get rid of a green screen altogether. And 8K TVs now, 85-inch, are under $4,000 typically these days. And so you could put an 8K TV behind you if you wanted to. Just remember that our 85-inch 8K is that 85 inches is only going to cover so much space behind you. So keep that in mind if you go that route. So lighting a green screen needs to have good, consistent lighting. And so it's nice to be able to go clear across it and see all the same color green. And that makes it really easy for you to key that out inside Blackmagic Design's control software or any other tool that you're using. Last thing I want to say about green screen is this. When you're using green screen, right, you don't have to just use green screen. You can use blue screen. I would use green screen most likely if I had this shirt on or something dark. But if you're wearing blue, you don't want to have a blue screen behind you. And if you're wearing green or you have green eyes, you don't want to use a green screen. So you have to know what your talent's going to wear before you stand in front of a green screen, or you're going to key them out and they'll look like they're invisible. So if I put a green shirt on me and keyed it out, then I would just be a moving head, which is a really cool effect that you'll see a lot for invisibility, making something float through the air. You can just get a green suit on, they key out that suit, and it looks like that javelin is floating through the air, or there's a ghost there. And people do it all the time to try to say there's a ghost in their video. And in reality, all they did was have the person put on a green screen outfit, and they did kind of a sad, not so great key, and they look like a ghost. They're semi see-through. It's like an apparition. And then all of a sudden it goes all over social media, and they get lots and lots of hits on their video, and it's all faked. So keep that in mind. You can use a green screen on you. You could use a green screen behind you. And the idea is to get it well lit so it looks good on camera when you use it. So I like to just have a real set behind me. So I haven't done much of any green screen work unless it's for a talent or for a specific tool that I need to get across. So if you had a really good looking set, but the other side wasn't that great looking, right? You could put a virtual set on one side. So things are moving on one side, you got a clock ticking, but on the other side, it's virtual. And I know people that have done that in a angled set. One side is green screen keyed and the other side is real. And it messes with your head because one side has movement on it. And so everybody immediately thinks it's not a green screen because the window, there's people going by in the window. I know people that have actually put motion behind a cutout in their green screen to make it look like it's not a fake set. So what's going on through that hole is really what's going on behind it. And that is another thing you can do with it as well. Okay. Let me go through here really quick. Thank you, Tony. I try very hard to keep my lighting dialed in. Good to have you here, TVJ. Thank you for joining us. TVJ's channel. He works in trailers with events and knows even more about lighting, big, gigantic TV trucks, shooting professional events. And so check out his channel. It's good to have you here tonight, TVJ. You're welcome, Freddie. Welcome, Tony. Yeah, and I love the idea of having these Elgato key lights for space restrictions. David, yeah, I studied lighting when someone told me that if I wanted to be a good photographer, a good videographer, I had to understand light because, shout out to David also. He's got a great photography channel. Check it out. Go subscribe to it. He knows so much about photography. But what I learned early in my training was that light is what we're shooting. So anytime I look at a tree or a landscape or a client, if I'm shooting inside a building, I'm always thinking light now because that's what I'm shooting. So is there light on their face? Is there a reflection in their glasses? Because you notice if I look up a little bit, I get these two crazy reflections in my eyes. And so a lot of times where I position my chair is so I don't get those reflections. So looking for the light in the shot is crucial. Thank you so much, David, for that shout out. And we're going to talk about Lee filters here in a second, David. You'll probably enjoy this part as a photographer. Thank you, Tony. Says, great answer to the chroma key question. I'm amazed at how many of the weather people have a great green spill on them. I would expect better from professional TV broadcasting. Yeah, I don't think every TV station understands light, right? Someone sets up their sets and they don't really know what changes when you have a green screen. Well, they have typically very bright lights in a TV station, especially if they have older cameras. They don't do very good in low light. So very bright. I've been there before. I've been in a TV station where you're there for an hour and a half and you get a tan. So that's how hot the lights are. Well, with that hot light, bright light, right? Large ANSI lumens, it will bounce off that green. Well, again, anytime you throw light on a green wall, it's going to reflect green. So keep that in mind. If you have a brown wall and you're throwing backlighting on it in your set, you're going to have a brown look to your skin tone. So the best thing for you to do is get as close to neutral gray as you can and paint the back of your set with that color or something in off-white. But remember, if it's like an eggshell white, you're going to add that to your skin tone if you're throwing lots of light on it. I try not to throw any light on my wall. It's only light bleeding from the lights around me. But keep that in mind, it is adding color to me, as well as the monitors. So if you have something red on your screen, that's going to shine on you as well, unless the light on you is way brighter than the monitors. And again, I've had Zoom calls where as things moved on the screen, you could see it reflecting on their face like a TV light in a broadcast when, or even faking TV light, that flickering look is on their face because it's playing in the video. Okay, so let's go on to the Lee filters. I apologize if I missed anybody here as well, but I want to talk about these Lee filters. So let me get my kit out. So inside this kit, I have two things. Now, the Lee filter kit, I have two of these, and I'll show you what's in that. And then I have this giant set of filters. What else is floating around in here? And then I've got some cleaning supplies for my filters. I usually have a kit with some spray in it. But inside here are all of these filters. So if I open this up, unsnap it, get inside here, you can see I have filters in here. Let's just pull one out. so you can see what I'm talking about. And this is a variable ND filter. And so it's designed to, if I put this over my face, it's designed to cut out the sky, but not the landscape. What this does is it lets you, if you're going to use a filter like this, it lets you get the photo you're looking for inside the camera, and you don't have to go back into Photoshop and then begin to try to soften the sky. You have a better chance of getting all the detail if you expose perfectly for the sky, right? And then you stop down, or you prefer the landscape, and then you stop the sky down with different variable ND filters. And I hope you can see that. You can when it's over my face. And so I have different versions of these. This is a, they're starting to rub off. So this is a 6. And so I have 3s and 9s in here. So 3 stop, 6 stop, and then 9 stops, I believe that's what they are. And then also in here, I have some just square filters. Now these I can use with my camera. So if I open this up, pull this out in this sleeve, this is a K&F concept. This is the only one of these I have. I wanted to try their products, so when I broke one of my Lee stoppers, I got this out. This is a 100 by 100.9 ND. So if you've ever seen someone take a picture of a waterfall and the water looked just beautifully smooth in the middle of the day, like milky, it's because what they're doing is they're slowing the light down, right? Watch how much light it stops on my face. I mean, I wish you could look through this filter, which we will do in a second here, because I actually have my Lee filters set up here, but this is designed to stop down the light so I can then slow down my shutter speed when I'm outdoors during the day. And you do that when you're using it for waterfalls, fountains, there's lots of other reasons, or if I'm shooting outside and I have to stop down the light to get more depth of field. Because remember, the more light you have, right, the more you have to open up your aperture or close down your aperture. So you don't get much depth of field, that milky, beautiful bokeh look when you're at like F9 or F11 or F12, because there's so much light outside. So if you want to get that aperture down to like 2.8 or even lower, you got to stop the light down during broad daylight because the sun is on and you don't have any control of the light. It's not like you went out there to light the set. God lit the set for you with that big gigantic light called the sun. And at night, then you have the moon as well. And so these are designed to stop down that light. And I also have the Lee filters. They're square as well, the same size. This is the little big stopper. And there's different versions to stop down the light to where you literally can stop almost all the light down and do a long exposure. I've done exposures for 2-3 minutes before that picture was ready. Think about it. If you're doing a waterfall or you're doing a stream, typically the stuff around the stream, the rocks and all that, they're not moving. It's the water that's moving. Now, if the animal walks by through the stream while you're doing these long exposures, you're not even going to see them. They just ghost away because by the long exposure takes a picture of all of that time, but the water is moving, and that's what gives you that beautiful milky look. So these filters go on adapters like this. I'll pull this out. And on this adapter, these discs go on the lens. And I have a different size for different lenses. So this one's for a 82 millimeter lens. And then this is the Lee mount. Now this Lee mount actually has a circular polarizing filter on it, and it's big enough to cover all of my lenses. And then this spring load pops onto this disc. So this disc would be on my lens, and this would just pop on like this. So now it's popped on there, and then this round side screws on an 82 millimeter lens, and now I have the circular polarizing filter on there, and that cuts out the glare. That would be off of glass, off of someone's glasses, off the water. So if you want to see the fish swimming underneath the lake, you could turn this and you'll be able actually to cut light. It's basically two filters spinning, and it creates what we call the polarizing effect. You may have polarizing glasses for fishing. Well, this gives you the ability to change how much polarization is really happening. So I'll put it against the TV here behind me, and then I'll turn it. See the TV behind me changing colors, lots of light, more glare gone. And so that's designed to cut out the glare, and that's on there. And then the other filters slip right in these slots, and this can have two filters on there. Then I have an adapter here. Here's what one looks like without having the circular polarizing mounted on there. So the filters just slide in these slots, and I can have 1, 2, 3 filters in here. And then I also have an adapter that will let me spin it so I can have filters going this way, right? So if I'm in a mountainscape and the sun is setting on the left-hand side and I don't want to cut out all of the light on the mountains, then I can put one filter in sideways and cut the sky, and then I could have another filter over here on this way, cutting out the bright, bright sun. So I get this beautiful sunset with all that beautiful light on the mountains. Now, I got my phone out here. I'm going to grab it here real quick and see if we can tether. Give me a second here. I want to show you this. Okay. So now I'm going to go like this. So I have a filter on my lens here. So let me screw it off. There you go. And I'll screw it back on. And that is the adapter for the Lee filters. Wake that camera up. So if I cut to that camera, there's no filter on it. It's ready to be filtered, but there's no filters on it. And so now I could take this kit and I could put it on there. Not going to happen one-handed, so let me cut back. Set this down. Pop that on. Okay, cut back. So there you go. So now let's cut to that camera. And now it's got a circular polarizer on it. So I'm going to turn it now and see the light, the window. It's changing the light in the room. Cuts the monitor. That's the circular polarizing filter. Cut back. Now we're going to switch this real quick. Let me switch it here real quick. We're going to put this one on, and I'm going to put a filter on it. This one off. Grabbing out my handy dandy filters. This is a pretty hard stop variable. I'm going to take this and slide it in, and if you're only using one, you're going to use the very first slot. You want to make sure you get it in the right slot. And so I'm going to slide it in, and I'm going to show you guys what it's like when I push this down over the window. Okay, let's cut back to camera 2. Oops. Try that camera 1. Let me show you guys this first. So that's what I have now. So I've got that in. You can see it slides in these slots. And so I have the clear part right now. So we're going to change to this now, this camera. And now I'm going to slide it down and watch the window. There you go. So now I have better exposure outside because I'm cutting some of that light that's bleeding in that window and not cutting that same amount of light on the chairs. Pretty incredible. So again, you can see how far down the filter is. So this is cutting most of the window, and then down here it's more clear. So the chairs are showing up better right here because I have a variable filter. But I wanted you guys to see what that looks live. And so now I'm going to pull it out slowly and see how it gets brighter and brighter up there where the window is. And that's what you're looking for when you're watching your monitor. Just want those houses to look nicer. Now you can almost see my neighbor's house across the way. And again, it's because I'm using the Lee filter kit, and I can actually put 2 kits together and also use my polarizer. And there's an adapter that slides in, and then I can hook this on there. I have that adapter over on the table right now. So I know I'm using this microphone and it's not been great, but I apologize. But there you go. Let's go back in here, check my audio. Okay, we're on mic 1. So there you go. Let's cut back to my main camera. That's a sample of those filters. Now I'm going to put this stop in. So we're going to pop that in too, and then this will be kind of how we're going to wrap up tonight. So I'm going to pull it out. It's got a little pull tab here. I'm going to take this out. This again is a big .9 stopper. So now this is the same amount of stop over the whole lens. So I have 9 on the top I can put there. That would give me 18, and 9 on all of this. So let's slide this in. Usually you put these in first. So we're going to pull this off. We're going to put the variable in second now in the slot 2. We're going to put this in slot 1. Sliding it in. And that kind of seals it off. My Lee filters actually have a foam all the way around them. So I really bought this one just to test them out. But my Lee filters actually have foam around them. I'll show you that. And it helps block out some of the light from bleeding here. So if you're going to use a filter like this, you pretty want to put a flag or something black over top of it so that sun doesn't bleed in. So now we're going to put this one on the top. Now, if I needed to cut brightness at the bottom of my shot, then I would put the filter in this way and pull it up. But I want to cut the sky. So we're going to slide it down like this, trying to keep the fingerprints off of these. Now I'm able to do 2 filters. So we're going to put this back on, cut to that camera. So now see how dark it is. Now watch this. So I've cut the light in the back. Now you can really see outside really well. Now watch. Slide that other filter down, and now the sky is even better exposed. Cut back to my mobile camera so you guys can see this. And that's what I have right there. I have this one that pulls up and down to cut the light with the variable ND, so it's clear down here. And then you have more up here. And then I have the full 9-stop right there in the back. I could add one more filter in this front slot right here. I think that's in focus. But that is the filters on my camera. And the leaf filters are just one more way that you can stop light. So if I was shooting outside with talent and I just wanted to cut the sun a little bit, I could do that. I probably wouldn't put that variable filter over top of them. But if I just wanted to cut the sun for a landscape photograph, I would use it. I probably would only be using my regular square filters if I was going to try to do any work with talent, and that's why I have the adapter. And my leaf filters are in this pad, have the little stopper guide. It tells you how many stops of light and how many frames you're going to need to set, or how long you set your timer, depending on how bright it is. So the guide's right here for all three of the stoppers that they make. And then if I fold this out, I wanted to show you this last little thing here. So inside here, this is kind of a little pouch that came from Lee right there. And inside that is those three filters. So you want to be very careful with these. But I told you they have foam around them to cut light. And there you go. You've got foam around the back of these to stop light. And I really like these because you don't have the bleed problem that you have with other filters. Now, these are not inexpensive. I think they're about $150 a filter. And I was at the Oregon coast and rolled over and crushed one of my filters that were laying down on the blanket next to me. So I have three of these. This is a 10-stop filter. Next to it, pull it out. This is a 15-stop filter. So if you really want to have some beautiful looking waterfall shots, there's nothing like a quality high-end filter, and the Lee filters are considered some of the best photography landscape filters there is. And because of that, they're not inexpensive. Now, they're not the only brand. Don't get me wrong. This is not sponsored by Lee filters. And then this is a 6-stop. So 6, 10, and 15 inside my kit. And I need to replace the one I crushed, which is the 3-stop. I just have not done it yet. I decided to buy, when I crushed it, I decided to buy the 15-stop instead. And on one of these shows coming up, I will show you guys what those photographs look like when you're using those. So again, that's the filters, the Lee kit. It's really cool that you have different rings, adapters for different size lenses. So you'll need one of these for every size lens. This goes on a 72. Then I have one here on my camera right now. And then one more here that I think dropped on the floor. This goes on an 82. And then I have the one on my camera right now. I want to be very careful that you don't scratch these, so I have them setting down on a soft. So I keep these, all the lenses come from Lee with these holders, and I always set this down whenever I'm using the filter. So if I'm not using a particular filter, I can set it down like that. And then if I screw this off of the camera lens, this is the other adapter I have, which is a 77, and that covers the lenses that I have in my kit that I use for landscape photography. I probably will buy one more adapter for my macro lens. It is an L lens by Canon, and it's a macro lens, but it's also 100 millimeter. You can use it for other things besides macro. So I have a mess all around me. It's time to wrap it up tonight. Let me just see if there's any questions about the Lee kit. I will later tonight, first thing in the morning, I'll put links in the description if you'd like to go to different web pages and find like the kit I have. I will tell you that the adapter has been updated. This is a number of years old, so they have a new version of this. So make sure you go ahead and buy the new version. Don't think you have to buy like I do because they've updated it, and I believe the newer holder is better. But again, with the two of these adapters and the attachment that takes up one slot, I could have 5 filters in at the same time, and they rotate, which is great because you don't always need variable NDs top to bottom or bottom to top. Sometimes you need them side to side, depending on what you're shooting, but you will need these adapter rings in order to adapt them to your lenses. So make sure you get the adapters, and then decide if you just want to stop down the light. Now, there are filters you can screw on as well. This is a UV filter that I took off of my camera. There's also variable ND filters that you can screw on your camera, and you can buy adapters for the rounded versions as well. So you don't have to buy like the Lee filter kit. The reason I have it is because I can combine filters, so I can do square filters as well as the longer variable ND filters, and because I have 2 of them and the adapter, I can turn them, which is really great for landscape photography. Got circular polarizing filters, and same as that big one, these can go on individual lenses, or you can buy a big one of these and adapt it down to the different size lenses. So taking light and diffusing it, or taking light and stopping it down for special photography, or just getting the sky in focus. If you've ever taken a picture and had the sky and the clouds all too white, but the mountains are perfect, it's because the sky is so much brighter than what is the light that's on the mountains, and that's why these variable filters are so important. You say, well, Keith, I'll just go back in my studio and I'll throw an ND adapter, or not an ND filter, but an ND filter in digital on top of it. That's great if you're shooting raw and all the details there in the clouds. But if you didn't shoot raw and you just shot a JPEG, right, it's thrown away all that information, all the gray that isn't there, and you just get all these clouds that are completely no detail in them. And that's why using a Lee filter, a variable ND filter, and bringing the sky down so you get more detail in the clouds is why some photographers have these beautiful landscape shots, and you don't know how they got it, because when you go and shoot that landscape, you can't get the sky exposed, or if you get the sky perfectly exposed, then the mountains are too blown out or not bright enough. And so again, light is what we're shooting. So good light on the mountains and good light in the sky is super important. And then if you want to get that milky blurred look, then you have to stop down the light so that you could do long exposures till the exposure's right. And while you're shooting that long timed exposure, because you put one of these stoppers in there, 15 stops of light, all of that water gets a chance to look milky. You ought to look at what an ocean looks like if you get a perfect exposure shot in the middle of broad daylight with a 15 stop filter on it. It looks like there's a mist instead of waves coming in. And you've seen those photographs where it's like the dock is crystal clear, but the water is just like this milky mist. That was done with a long exposure, timed shot, using a ND filter, stopping the light down 6, 10, 15 stops. And that's the trick of the trade when it comes to filters. And it doesn't have to be Lee filters. It could be whatever brand you'd like to purchase. But I like the Lee brand because it comes so highly recommended, and that's what I have in my kit. So we haven't talked much about that kind of tool, but we did tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. And let me take a few questions here before we go. Let's answer this real quick. On the air, let's go like that. Let's go like this. This is a great question. So Joe is asking, why no post show tonight? Joe, I planned on having a device come in the mail that I was going to talk about tonight in the post show. It didn't show up. It will be here by next week's post show. So I'm doing one of those shows where the first show, I'm going to get it out of the box live and then talk about some other stuff as well that I'm planning on ordering. Also an update on my drone. That's going to happen as well. I'm going to have the drone live in that broadcast. So you're going to be able to see it not flying. It's going to be sitting on the shelf, which I can show you that video if I'm not flying it. So I'm going to show you that video as well as unbox this new device. And let's just cut to the chase and show you guys what that device is. So let me change this. And again, shout out to Freddie. He's the reason that I'm getting this device, and it's going to be in the show. So there you go. It's the Insta360 Link. This is a 4K web camera that moves, has ability to do hand motions to change where it's looking. I can also have a whiteboard effect, so it will focus in on a whiteboard. We're going to demo all of that in the post show next week, and we're going to unbox that little puppy in the live show. So that is why we did not have a show tonight, because it didn't arrive. So Amazon just didn't get it here in time. So that will be happening next week. And I will let you know that Benjamin C. Bear will be joining me in the post show next week. So sorry, Joe, but that's a great question. I apologize, but we will be back with a post show next week. And I have a very, very, very special post show and live show planned next week. Okay, so yes, David, Lee filters. Something is out of focus. I guess it was probably my camera. I wish I had time to break these down into little snippets and post them later, but I've been so busy with this new client 3 days a week. I'm taking a break right now to edit some videos and get my channel going again. So I posted a video today, which is the bonus video I promised for the pop-out chat a long time ago. I have the light chaser kit on my phone that I got a video. I just have to finish editing it. That's the next couple days. So once I get a little bit more time, I will try to get some of these videos snipped out, like for instance the unboxings that I'm doing live. They would really help my channel grow if I made just that unboxing a separate video, and I do have some of those that I want to do in the very future. So if you're with me live, you'll see those unboxings. Eventually I'll have those as individual videos. So thank you, Hank. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me, and I try to really cover all of the different topics in and around video and photography, as well as live streaming. And again, the Skycam is going to get replaced with this new Insta camera. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Again, we will be unboxing that next week, and we will be putting it to use live in the post show with Benjamin C. Bear. Who knows? Benjamin may be operating that camera. We'll have to wait till next week and see if that happens. So you're welcome. I hope some of these things we talk about in the live streams help you out. That's the whole goal. And yes, I did finally crash my drone. So today I was flying my drone. I've registered it. I can't show you any footage right now because of the fact that I don't have the Part 107 license. Haven't even started studying for it. Some of you guys have sent me great tools to study and told me about the test, and I do plan on taking that test. I also plan on buying a DJI drone as well. I just think it's important for my channel to compare the Limitless 4 with the DJI drones and show you side-by-side video. So I am going to be doing that on the channel, probably be getting the Maverick 3 Pro Mini. So we'll see. I might pull the trigger and get a nicer drone than that, like the Air. We'll find out. Still doing my research and my due diligence before I pull the trigger on those. So that will be coming up, but obviously I can't really do a video until I have my Part 107 license. So you will be seeing some Limitless 4 video next week. I will tether to it, and I will be on my phone sending that video from probably the table is what I'm going to probably have that drone on, and you guys will be able to see some of that 4K footage, and it'll prove in the same shot that it's not flying, so no one can flag me for having that on my channel. And if you don't think that is going to be legal, let me know, Tony, tonight, or email me later. So I'm looking forward to that camera as well. It's not inexpensive. I mean, if you go in and go to buy this, let's go buy now. Let's cut over here. Super Source. Let's go ahead and hit buy now. And I will have a link next week in my description. $299 plus tax. And then you can get instant care. It was right here what the price was, but now it's gone because they're too busy trying to sell me a care plan. So again, that is a great webcam. It also can be mounted to a tripod. So we're going to check it out. It has the ability when it's not being live, the camera points down for privacy, which I love. Also, it will turn landscape for some of the social media things that you may want to use it for. I plan on doing some live videos for my channel with it. Turn sideways just to show people what you can do. I'll be streaming 1080p, but we'll shoot in 4K, which means it's got sick, powerful resolution. So it's going to be fun to have that camera here on the channel. And thank you, though, for those of you that have helped buy products on the channel through my Amazon associate links. You pay the same, but a little bit of money comes back to the channel because that has helped pay for part of this. I think $40 of that was paid for by my Amazon coupons that I get. I just get certificates and I use them to buy products to bring to you. So every time you buy something here on my channel from the Amazon associate links, you're helping get new products on the channel. And then the rest of that was money that I spent towards it. So you can see I spent close to $300 of my own money, and then the coupons paid the tax, or just a little bit more than tax. So, okay, my drone crash. I was flying it in the back, just practicing using it. I didn't have the avoidance little adapter on because I just didn't want to mess with it. It all of a sudden took off. I didn't do anything. It took off, flew to the right, and crashed into my window. Luckily, it wasn't going very fast, and it was pretty low to the ground, but it did crash, and it seems to be perfectly fine. They say you have to recalibrate it once it crashes. So I don't know what was going on. It's probably user error because I'm not a drone pilot in any sense, but I did have my first drone crash, and I told you guys that was my greatest fear, that I would crash the drone. So I didn't spend any money on this drone. That's probably why it's the perfect therapeutic tool. The Limitless 4 by these guys right here. So the drone clone experts. I am having a little issue with video quality. I've been emailing these guys back and forth. I'm sure that's user error as well. You can bring in the video and photos into your phone, and you can also bring it onto a disk. And I seem to be shooting at 2K. I'm not sure what's going on. And I've had photo stills as low as 1 megabyte, and they're supposed to do 25 megabyte stills. So I'm going to do some more flying in the next couple of days, some more testing. And then again, once I get my Part 107 license, I'll be able to show you guys that. But I can unbox the DJI drone when it gets here. And then hopefully within the next couple of months, I will have my Part 107 license so that we can actually do some drone footage, and I can sell drone footage commercially, which is ultimately what I plan to do with those drones. So, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I can't hardly, my mouth is dry. Let me get some of my special non-alcoholic drink here. I should have been drinking more as we were talking tonight. So modifying lights, different modifiers from soft boxes to barn doors to reflectors, both white and bright, as well as diffusing windows with giant 4x8 panels, as well as rounded discs that you can just fold into a small container like that. And yet it's really big when you fold it out. Looking at the Lee filters, great tool. Awesome to have this kit. If I'm going to be using my camera shooting video outside, I can use my different filters to stop down the light, and I'll eventually end up having probably a 3, 6, and 9 stop, maybe even some other sizes as well to be able to use with my Lee filter kits. So when I'm shooting commercials or things outside, I can get that depth of field that I really want, and also use for landscape, which is one of my favorite things to do with photography. So thank you, Freddie, for that nice little statement. Yeah, and I think it was satellite lock. It was beeping at me, but I was only flying it like 3 feet, 4 feet off the ground, and I was really just playing with the cameras. It turns out, I finally figured out today, you have a downward facing camera that's built into the bottom of the drone. And The drone isn't in the room right now, but it's in the closet out in the living room. And then there's the forward-facing camera that has the 3-axis stabilization. So what I was doing is I was flying it about 4 feet away from me at eye level, and I was going right to left, and I was adjusting the camera up and down, and then I was figuring out with the app how you change to the downward camera, and that's what I was doing. And then, like I said, I flew to the right, the thing spun around and headed towards, it looked like it was going to the kitchen to get a drink, but the window was in the way, and it fell to the ground about 3 feet, and because it was still kind of flying, it didn't hit the ground that hard. But I did notice right next to the lens that gets all the beautiful pictures from the camera, there's a little teeny tiny notch, but it didn't get in front of the actual lens, so it survived and it didn't break anything because I did fly it again. Flew perfectly fine, got great video after that because I was freaking out and didn't want to come tonight and tell you guys that I broke it. So had it a week, it's still working, and we'll see more with that next week. And then once I get the DJI drones or drone as well, we'll have that in the studio hooked up, tethered, so that you can see the video from it as well until I get my license. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me tonight. We're going to end it here. I hope you had a good time being on with me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Obviously, anytime you share the videos or you let other people know, people find out about the channel. I really, really appreciate that. So sharing, liking, and subscribing, thumbs up helps me as well. So if you enjoyed this video tonight on diffusing light and also the Lee filter sets, talking about ND filters, even talking about green screen tonight, then please give me a thumbs up tonight to this video. Also, check out the video I just released on how to make macros to turn chat on and off the air. I use it all the time live. And then I also did a flying key graphic so that if you wanted to emphasize a super chat, you can actually then bring chat on the air, bring a chat up like that, and then you can fly it. Now, I deleted those tonight, but I can also go into the key that I'm using, which is key number 4. And so I can actually do this manually. I can fly it to B location right now, run to B, and you can see it emphasizes that. And in that video, I show you how to make that macro, how to set a timer so that it zooms forward and then it zooms back after 9 seconds. You can go longer if you want, but after 9 seconds, it zooms back. And I think it's a great little way to highlight super chat. So if someone gives you a super chat, then you go ahead and you highlight that. And because Flying Key has the ability to go full screen, that's full, that's what that would be normally the size, or to A location, which is where I have it all the time, or B location, which would be that animation, it would be nice for you to have a macro to animate a super chat like that, and then it would go back to the normal size. And a macro also will let you take chat off the air. And again, I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. It's great to have you. If I didn't say hi to you, I apologize. Please check out everybody else's channels, subscribe to their channels, and like and share their videos as well. Let's grow this community that's been hanging out with me on Tuesdays. And I've been learning from some of you. Tony and I went back and forth this week talking about putting a NAS or a NOS, whatever you want to call it, in my studio. And I'm looking at a really, really high-tech one that I can actually, and Tony, you can, I think it's SRT. I can't remember, but go ahead and put it in the chat if you're still with me tonight. I want to be able to try using that NAS to bring guests in. We've talked about being able to buy a NAS and be able to put a 10 gig card in it, which means I have to be able to have a computer that has a 10 gigabyte Ethernet cable, so I can do that high speed back and forth. And I even was thinking about doing SSDs inside my NAS and be able to have even faster speed. The only reason I would get a storage device like that in reality, guys, and we'll talk about this in a future video, is because I want large amounts of backup. Right now I have a 10 gigabyte spinning Western Digital drive, and if it fails, I've lost all that video. So now the most important video I have on SD drives, And so, but a lot of the video I've shot and stored from my live streams when I'm shooting, and I'm not recording tonight, but when I do record that footage, if I want to save it, I then back it up onto that Western Digital drive. It'll be so nice for me to be able to back up all of that in a hot swappable drive so that I have some fail safe. And again, that is really cool. So I don't think Tony's still with us tonight, but thank you guys so much for joining me. We're going to call it a night now, and we will talk about backup systems later, drones later, as well as the Insta360 Link camera next week. It's supposed to be here, so hopefully, cross your fingers, it will show up like it said on Amazon. Let's check it right now. What does it say? That camera. Let's go into my Amazon account. We go to orders. Arriving Saturday. So I'm supposed to have this puppy Saturday. It's en route. And so that gives me plenty of time in case it's late to have it ready to go next Tuesday. So I'll see you next Tuesday for the live show, the post show. We'll be unboxing the Insta360 Link in the live show. I will be recording that to upload that little unboxing. We're going to get it out of the box. We're going to talk about how I'm going to use it in the live show. I'm going to compare it side by side in the post show with the Elgato face cam. You're going to be able to see both cameras side by side, and you'll be able to make a judgment if you want to get that one of these or not. The advantage of the Insta360 Link is that it actually has the ability to move and pan, plus it's 4K. And so once you render that down to 1080p, it's going to be a pretty beautiful looking picture. But what I like about it, with 4K, I can zoom into my desk and zoom out. It's just the perfect sky cam for me here in the studio. Plus, I could get it to follow me, and it would go with me when I go back to the table, which would be fun as well. So we'll see that next week. I hope you tune in with me. Until then, I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.